Hi, my name is Petra Parker. I'm the service coordinator for the South Derbyshire CVS. My main role is the food bank and social eating events in the area.
I'm Reverend Simon Thompson. I'm the minister here at Hill Street Baptist Church. I've worked with Petra quite a while now, just alongside Petra, helping out with different things. And I had a phone call, or an email from Petra just before Easter saying, Simon, we need to move the food bank. Please can we move it to Hill Street? And at the time Petra already got a key for the building and kind of intimated that she'd move in whether I liked it or not, and moved it all here by just before Good Friday, so it was a mammoth job.
Gina, I don't know how you lift that. Yeah. Never is that. But now you do it.
Tell me what you do here when you're volunteering at the food bank.
We do a variety of jobs. We make single bags up for the public, family bags for the public.
So is it busier here than it was?
Seem to be. We seem to be. But it's like everything, isn't it? At the beginning of lockdown, it was, you know, as you can imagine, it was inundated.
Why do people need the food bank?
I think even before the pandemic, the food bank was very much needed.
I think certainly in this area, I've been here 5 years now. Swad as a whole is a low wage area. There's a lot of 0-hour contracts.
The food bank itself is important in itself for the district. We have a lot of people at the moment who are struggling with their finances, with the tenancy, and also with coronavirus, the pandemic at the moment going on. People's lives are harder than ever before, and I think without the food bank, it will be a lot harder for people to make ends meet.
A lot of us are 1 or 2 wage packets away from being in that situation. Furlough now with COVID hasn't helped. Redundancies in this area are massive. So if you then start to kind of reflect on what's happening with the whole COVID situation, the need's increasing in this area. And I think in this area as well, it's only going to increase, unfortunately, over the next couple of months as a lot of the furlough ends.
We know it's there. We've had people sleeping actually rough for 5 years at the back of our building. A gentleman, he came sometimes on a daily basis, and the CVS provided him with warm food, clothing, a new sleeping bag. We catered for his needs, i.e. housing, and he's now actually housed and has been for almost 2 years now in supported housings.
More people are finding it harder to make ends meet, and people are making the tough choice between feeding themselves or paying their bills. So the rate of the food bank referral rate is increased quite a lot during this pandemic.
So you've got the food bank and your clothing runs alongside that. How does that work?
Yes, the Clothes Bank we launched just over 2 years ago now, and during COVID that's had to change slightly, but Clothes Bank was always launched to support those that were most in need in the community with clothing. We basically do clothes parcels now like Food Bank does food parcels, so we do it all by referral. A lot of people we're still in contact with that we were working with anyway. They just ping us an email, ping us a message on Facebook, and we sort out a clothes parcel that they can pick up from here at Hill Street, or that sometimes if they can't drive, we deliver out to them.
Tell us about your social eating project.
So I was put forward to create social eating events, which I started here at Hill Street Baptist Church. I suppose because I work with food, it was assumed that I can cook. And it hit off. It really took on. We have, I think, the last count, I would say we had about 80 people attending, which is held every Friday. Obviously not now because of the pandemic. And
so we'd turn up here often around midday to start and set up the Clothes Bank side, and Petra would have been here for an hour or two already with one of her volunteers, literally just making something out of scratch. She'd be making German soup, would do jacket potatoes with beans or chilli, or Robert would make a Polish meatballs. Yeah, people would go home well fed.
And did they pay for it?
No.
So it was all free?
All free of charge, donation if people wanted to, but that was never the most important thing. It was about people being fed. And so some people would come in, parents would specifically come in after school that were struggling and know that the kids could have a hot meal. And for somebody who's struggling financially, actually a hot meal is really important.
Food and comfort in surroundings often opens another door, and they feel able to disclose that there is an underlying issue which we can then help to tackle.
They do an absolutely amazing job, and if it wasn't for them, a lot of people would starve, because a lot are too proud to ask.
Do you get people who are embarrassed to come, Sam? What do you do
Yeah.
when people are embarrassed when they turn up?
I think you always get people that are embarrassed because none of us like to ask for help with anything in life. We don't want to admit we don't know how to do something, or we don't like to admit that we need support. We just try and make this as open and friendly as place as we can.
The good old saying, treat somebody like you want to be treated, I think is really, really important. Just be kind.
Now we're able to see people a little bit more in the building, so we can invite them in and give them a cup of tea if we need to. That's probably been the hardest thing over the last 6 months, is not being able to invite people in to draw them in, when you can see that they're struggling, and be able to kind of start to peel back the layers and figure out what's going on.
When we have somebody with high needs, we need to make sure that us, the staff, and some of the volunteers as well, have the knowledge where we could send them to, but not just send them to, go with them, or make that first phone call, whether it's to counselling services or drug and alcohol services. I've gone to doctor's appointments with people because they said, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to disclose that I'm actually hooked on a sleeping pill. You know, this is an embarrassing situation for them. So with having that help in hand and having a great employer that allows us to do that, opens a total different door, because it's person-centred support.
What do you think about the volunteers and people you work with?
Couldn't do this job without them.
Fantastic. I can't think of a word to describe them. Amazing, selfless.
A lot of them are crazy. We try and laugh and cry together.
The fact that, you know, they come in every day with 100% effort and kind of like move their food around, maintain a smile on their faces despite the kind of stories they hear from people is just incredible.
When you spend so much time with people, you learn so much about them, and that's enabled us to develop friendships, trust, and it helps all of us, not just the volunteers, all of us to offload sometimes, because we're only human. So if I come across an upsetting case, I know Gina or Robert would have that moment to say, here, have a cup of coffee. So I couldn't do the job without them.
Since COVID hit and we moved food bank here, we couldn't have done all of that. Petra couldn't have done all of that without the volunteers she has at CVS or the volunteers I have here at Hill Street.
So why do you volunteer here then,
Because
Gina?
I enjoy it, and it's giving something back
Yeah,
to the community.
Yeah.
And for me, I needed something. I didn't want to sit in the house all day, and I didn't want to do nothing, because I'm not like that, because I've always worked all my life. So that's why I became a volunteer. I did, and like I say, I enjoy it.
yeah. So why
So-
here then? Why not somewhere else?
I think with the CVS, it's the heart of Swellingcote.
Yeah,
It's the hub, as I call it,
yeah.
of volunteering. So, and there's not much you can't volunteer for from there, is there? So, you can all take out of the system, but we've got to give something back at the same time. So, and that's why I volunteered. And it's a purpose for me.
How can people support the food bank and the closed bank, Simon? What do you need now?
So Closed Bank, probably at the moment, we're on a bit of a hold with donations just with COVID. Food Bank, I know, is always in need of food. Not pastoral beans, because we're swimming in those. So definitely no pastoral beans, but Food Bank's always after food. And I think just being aware, actually, being able to signpost people if you know they need support, because actually that's part of it. Sometimes people need something and they don't know where to go, so if other people know about services, they can signpost them. But just being aware, and if people have time and want to volunteer, I know CVS are always after volunteers, so that's a good place to start.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
Give volunteering a try.
Give volunteering a try.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
We told you the heart and soul of around here.
Yeah,
I think that's correct.
I think we'll just use your interview. I think. Yeah, you said
Right.
it.
Look at that.
Oh,
Job's a good one.
yeah.